Hey y'all, and welcome to Texas Backyard Barbecue, Indoor Cooking Edition. Yeah, I know, we're outdoor barbecue, but dang, it's hot even for Dallas, and so we're cooking some indoor stuff today. We will put something on the barbecue though, I assure you. It's going on the propane. Bless you, Hank Hill. It's going on the propane for that clean, smooth propane flavor. Flavorless flavor, I believe he said it was. So that's going to be great. It's going to be salmon, and look forward to showing it to you. It's a special recipe. Once again, welcome to Texas Backyard Barbecue, Indoor Cooking Edition.
Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do salmon. It's a little out of the ordinary. This is a recipe I got in Hawaii many years ago, and have added a little bit of southern flavor to it, and spice I might add. What we do is never get little pieces of salmon. Get the whole fish. It all blends together, and cook it with skin on. You want skin on as well. So you got a nice layer of fat there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little virgin olive oil, extra virgin, and drizzle a little bit on there, and then just brush it around because we had the fish dry, and we want the seasonings to stick because we're going to slow cook the fish on the grill. So you want to get a nice little coating of that on there. Then we're going to start off with Tom's Dry Rub number 2. Now we're going to put a nice coating of that on the fish. Not too much. You don't want to overpower it. I know I don't say that too much, but this is one that'll do it because it's a pretty light flavor. Then we're going to take Tom's Dry Rub number 1. And this one's a little bit stronger. It's got more cayenne pepper in it and such. And we're just going to put a nice little coating of that on there. And we're going to set that to the side. Now, the only other thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and we're just going to drizzle a little bit, if we have a little bit, there we go, on the fish. And just going to let that kind of soak in the way that it goes. Now from here, we're going to take and wrap it up in the aluminum foil and parchment. Now I only use the parchment for ease of cleanup because basically I'm lazy. So we'll just take and crush this together into a little pen. And then pinch our ends. And now it goes on the grill on low, indirect heat. One burner typically down about maybe half to quarter. Let's get it on the grill. Okay, now maybe I should talk a little bit about what this meal is. My wife and I found this meal from a restaurant in Maui in 1984, I believe it was. And it was basically a Hawaiian salmon, where they would take a salmon patty and glaze a little bit of sugar on top and a little bit of a soy, almost a soy vinegar syrup kind of a thing. And it was quite good. And we talked with the chef for a while and drank some wine and made good friends. And he gave me the recipe, which was surprising. And so I've kind of gone from there. And what I do is, like I said, I started with the salmon, and I give it some of the rub 1 and 2, which, as most people know, is rub 1 and 2. And then it'll go in and it'll slow cook for a while. Now, after it gets up to a done state of about 165 degrees or so, I'll pull it out and I'll put some brown sugar all over the top of it and some butter. And then pop it into the broiler for about 2 or 3 minutes just to caramelize the brown sugar, then pull it out and let it rest so it comes up a little bit. But with the dinner, you need something else. So today, we're going to do a grilled, or shall I say sizzle grilled, squash and some Brussels sprouts, some great big huge Brussels sprouts. These are going to be done in skillets with extra virgin olive oil and some balsamic vinegar and a little bit of garlic and some cracked pepper. So let's get started. First thing we want to do is we're going to cut these babies to shape. And they're going to be roughly about 3/4 of an inch thick, because we don't want to overcook them, because we're going to cook them in butter to get a nice browned edge on the outside edges. And being that it's going to be on that kind of heat, we don't want it too thin, because then it would get very, very mushy. I guess some people like that, but I don't know. I don't. I like to have the thicker ones. So we'll go 3/4 of an inch or so on these. So I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in the kitchen, I use this knife for everything. You know, we've got a drawer full of knives over there, and I just, you know, I don't know. I get used to this one and I use it for everything. Now, I'm not sure if there's a big difference between the yellow and the green, other than they look good, you know, on the plate and plated. By the time I get done with the seasoning and such, these don't, it takes more like the seasoning. They're just filler, but good filler and good for you. So, get these just about sliced up.
Okay, well, the first thing you're going to do for these vegetables is, and there's a little secret to getting them crisp without burning, is you're going to need to melt some butter. So I use about a quarter stick of butter, and then when that gets melted down a bit, you have to add some of the secret ingredient. It doesn't really matter when you add it into it, but you got to put in some olive oil, because the butter itself has too low of a burn temperature, and the olive oil will help kick that up. So I just use like a tablespoon, so the olive oil. Oh, and then, of course, black pepper, coarse ground. And not only, it's twofold. One, it gives a phenomenal flavor. I use a lot. So you put that down there. So what it does is it also makes little footstools, so to speak, for the units to set up off the bottom of the skillet a little bit, so that they have a little bit of space below them, like a little pier, and then it keeps them from sticking and burning. Now I'm also using a non-stick pan, so bring that up. So as those are coming up, you don't really have to wait. I'm just going to start putting them in around the butter, and once again, the colors don't matter. It's just for looks, but because I'm kind of OCD, I do kind of stagger them a little bit. Kind of weird, but you know, it is what it is. So, also, it's what gives me the experimentation mode. Sometimes good, not sometimes
Now
bad.
with these, same thing, we're going to take a little bit off the bottom. We're going to have quite a bit of debris. And you're going to find it's kind of right at the round part of the Brussels sprout. You're just kind of basically taking the stem and any of the nasty little things. Now these can be, for years, I did look at Brussels sprout as food. I thought, what, who would eat that? Yeah, coral. I still feel that way about, no, I can't think of the name of it. Eggplant. Oh, that's not food for humans. So, anyway, we get them like this, and then we're going to take, and we're going to slice them in half, so that we have little half cabbages there, half mini cabbages. And then these we're going to saute face down in the same sort of a garlic oil, balsamic vinegar thing. And these we're going to do on one side, and then we're going to take out and we're going to broil a balsamic vinegar syrup crust on top of it. So these are going to be quite amazing. Hey, let's see if they're done enough now. The inside looks fabulous. The outside looks equally fabulous. So we'll just start doing some rotating.
Like I said, these were thick so that they wouldn't be totally mushy all the way through. Oh, these are looking beautiful. Oh yeah, yes, like. I should have bought more so that we'd have more to eat now. Okay, for the Brussels sprouts, I've taken a pan and I've greased the bottom of it with grease, olive oil at the bottom of it, spread that around a bit. Then I put the cut side down of the Brussels sprouts into the pan, and I sprinkled them with some balsamic vinegar. Just regular, balsamic vinegar. That's all it is. And this will go in a already hot 450 degree oven, middle rack, for about 20 minutes. You want the outer edges to tend to darken, get a little bit crispy if they can, and then the inside will suck up that oil, and these will just be fantastic. It's time to pop these in the oven. And these are turning out absolutely incredible. I'm going to do a little a la pyramid stack here. These are ready to come out. They look perfect. So we'll bring it in the house. You cover the parchment with aluminum foil like this so that it doesn't burn, and then the whole thing goes into the broiler. So one of the tricks to getting it plated well so that it doesn't run, take your plates in the freezer. Get them really good and cold. You put the drizzle on, it immediately congeals. Okay, so I've got my plates out of the freezer. So now the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to take some honey. And we're just going to drizzle it on the plate. On both. And then the other direction. A little in the middle. All right, so that's going to be our base. Okay, so we'll start our plate build now. And what I do with these after I've got them is I put a little bit of the olive oil. Then we're going to take some of this rice that we made in the rice cooker. And essentially we're going to build a little form out of the rice. A tower, I guess would be a better word, using the pot. So then we turn it over and place it off to one side. And we've still got some oil in that one, so let's do it again. You just take the rice and mush it in there. Kind of comes off on its own. And then you want to get your rice out of the way because every one of those will end up on your toes. A little dollop of brown sugar right in the center. Kind of make it look like an egg a little bit. So then you have one in each. And then you can take the honey again and do a swizzle on the egg. Okay, and then we're going to take some avocado and form a fan of an ear. On each side. You'll also be using a little bit of cilantro. So we just want to grab a couple of sprigs of it. And now the salmon will go right on top of that. Anyway, well, there you have it. Wahoo salmon on rice with a drizzle. You can use some soy sauce on it if you want. This will be the first episode of Texas Backyard Barbecue Indoor Kitchen. Y'all take off now. Remember, hit subscribe and like, even if you didn't, because it'll really help us out and it'll cost you nothing. Thanks, subscribe and like.